Welcome back everyone to my channel, Resilient Break Every Chain. Indeed, it's a joy and a privilege to be here again to share and empower you all as we are all on this journey to our freedom. That place where we can be all that we want to be. And I have been doing and planning and hoping and expecting, putting things in place so that as we continue on this journey, it will be an enjoyable one. As some of you may know, on May the 2nd, I launched my book, Happily Ever After. And wow, what a rewarding experience it has been. Now, the thought of sharing your story publicly is indeed a challenging one. And you find yourself in the place where you're wondering, should I? Is this a good idea? What people's judgment of you would be like. So it was indeed a journey getting to that point of accepting, embracing my story, being brave enough to put it in writing and then to get it out there. And the feedback have been phenomenal. I am so blessed. I'm so humbled by the responses that I've been receiving. In fact, so many persons make me laugh because basically everybody who reads the book would tell me, when I took it up, I didn't want to put it down. Or I read it in 2 days, I read it in 3 days. Right now, a friend of my mom is so excited and enthused about it that she sent for 2 other copies because she wanted to share it with other people whom she knew would have been through challenges and that would be a blessing to them. So to all of you out there who have been indeed purchasing, reading my story, and most of all sharing your feedback, wow, I love you, I thank you, I appreciate you. And therefore in today's episode, I want to share with you a woman who shared with me her story. We met some time ago when she was sharing her testimony of abuse, domestic violence, challenges. She had been through so much. And I was touched by her story, so I went on to find out who was this lady. And that's been about 2 years now we have been connected. And her response to the book really moved me. And so I decided to bring her on this evening to share with you and to empower us together as a community. And she shared a little bit about how it impacted her and the plans she has because of it. Help me welcome today the beautiful, the ambitious, the courageous, wonderful woman that I've come to know as Merkita Bernard-Reevas. Welcome to Resilient Break Every Chain. And indeed, knowing you and hearing of your story, I am always blown away because resilience is a word that came to define me because of my experiences. The ability to bounce back. And I look at you, I listen to you, I hear your story, and I see resilience written all over you. And that is indeed a joy, and I honor you because of it. So before you tell us about the book, could you just tell our viewing audience a little bit about yourself and how you came to being touched by my story?
Well, I also went through a phase of abuse from an early age of 11. I was abused from many people in my community, some of my close friends and relatives. And as I grew older, the abuse started in different ways, and it ended up to be sexual abuse. You know, at the age of 14 years, I was sexually abused by my stepbrother. And I have a child out of that abuse. And I also face other abuse in relationships. So my life was always a roller coaster life.
Sort of experience.
That's
but
right.
In spite of this roller coaster experience, I remember hearing your story, and one thing that stood out is the power and the might and the courage in which you shared your story. That in spite of all of that, you did bounce back, and now you are a businesswoman. Tell us what type of business you are into, because we do have some segments where we talk about all that you have in your hand. What is it that you had in your hand that God used to help you to transition from a life of abuse? And some people might say being a victim, but I believe you did not have a victim mentality, hence your ability to become who you are today. What are these tools, these gifts, what it is in you that God was able to use to transform your life?
Well, I will say that I always used to work very hard, and because of having children, I turned to working in an agricultural shop because I was not fully educated. So having a good job was very hard to find. And because of life and its challenges, I had to do a lot of odd jobs to make ends meet. But the agricultural shop, I thank God for it, that it was the only skill that I had learned. And because of that today, I have a very prosperous landscaping and maintenance company named Max Contracting Enterprise.
Excellent. So that's what we're talking about. So you might say originally you didn't have anything in your hand, but God positioned you in a place where you develop a skill that you were able to turn into a business. And today we are at your ice cream parlor, right? Royalty Ice Cream Parlor. A word that I know you have used to define you, because you believe and you have seen that God has taken you, as I've heard you say, from rags to royalty. Because as women, as people, God created us in royalty. And the devil sometimes, and the plans and the things that happen in our lives would make us feel like rags, make us feel so unworthy. But you have discovered your royalty. And being in your business place today, it's such a joy to see what God has done in your life. So tell us about that part of your business.
From rags to royalty, that's such a blessing, because where God had bring me from, He had bring me out of the pit and into the palace.
Amen.
And that word royalty, when I was trying to find a name for my business, I was saying, Lord, what is a name to name this business? And He said, and you are a mighty woman of God. Why don't you name your business Royalty? That's only good. And the Lord started showing me the colors to paint the shopping, and purple and gold and real royalty. And I'm thanking God for this business, that I can not only have an ice cream shop, but I can also minister to other people as well.
Awesome, awesome. So that's what I'm talking about. You really bounced back from a life that began in so much difficulty and adverse circumstances, today living a life that you are now a blessing to others. But you told me when reading my story, Happily Ever After, because I believe in spite of it all, we must be able to find that place of happiness. And in spite of my challenges, I was able to find it. But you said in reading my story, you saw excerpts of your life, and you were telling me you underlined certain parts of the book. So share with us how that related to you, how my story related to you.
Well, when I was reading this book, I find myself very intrigued with a lot of things that is similar to my story, especially the part where you said they used to tease you and call you names. Like Picky Head Nanny.
You remember that part, yes.
Oh, I laughed when I saw that part, because I was also bullied in school and called a lot of names, especially that famous name, Picky Head Nanny.
You serious? I thought it was
so I underlined that one especially, and even the ones that from different abuse, I also underlined this and say, yes, this is me that you were talking about, because our story is so much similar.
Oh my, so I am happy to know that has been a blessing to you. And that's what I've been hearing from so many people. In fact, I got a text from someone who said they would not give their name, but thank you for writing my story. And Resilient Empowerment Services, Resilient Susanna, Resilient Break Every Chain, everything ties into that whole purpose of our story and rewriting our story. Because we come into this world with what might be. Somebody might say that would be a story, but we don't have to die with the same story. We have the power, by the grace of God, and the strength within us, once we are willing to do the work, willing to make the change, to transform our story. to transform our lives. And hence the reason I've chosen to get into life coaching, so that I can help people really rewrite their story, you know. And you also told me that you're always desirous of writing your book and your story, and now having read this, what is your next step?
Well, your book really inspired me it pushed me to write my own book. You know, when I read your book, it really gave me the inspiration to do it. I say, yes, I can do this.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I'm looking forward to reading your story. I'm reading, and I'm here to support you. In fact, you're probably the fourth person who called me and said, I believe now I can write my story. And all of this is part of fulfilling purpose. So my purpose in writing the book wasn't just then to put my story out there, but to encourage and to empower others that they too can share their story. That our story is not just for us, but our stories that might be a blessing for somebody to be encouraged, for somebody to know, hello, if she made it, I can make it too. So Merkita, tell me, what would you say to the women out there who might have been through some of the challenges that you would have been through?
I will say, do not let your past determine your future. One of the scriptures that stood out most for me in the Bible is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me.
Amen.
I had to get that I can mentality. When people speak negativity into my life and say you cannot become this and you cannot become that, I speak positive at all time and I say I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me. And if God can change my story around, He can also do it for you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And you all also hear me talk often of Heart of a Sister Family Foundation, which is another part of my vision, which is my arms reaching out, being able, and a beautiful bunch of people who works with me along to making this happen. They capture the vision. And so I salute you this evening. I also want to salute a young lady. The last video I said, send in your emails. And she was the first person to send an email. So I have a token for her. What I'm going to begin doing is sending out information via emails, collecting with you guys, and finding ways to empower you all. We're going to have workshops, we're going to have training, you can call me, you can message me, you can WhatsApp me, so that you can set up one-on-one sessions so I can help to empower you in any way that I can. So this evening has been such a joy hearing Merkita, sharing with Merkita. And that is what it's all about, ladies. Our group is not only for women, because it's Heart of a Sister Family Foundation, but also for men, Soul of a Brother, because men too are touched. Men too go through experiences and need to come forth with power and resilience. Before we wind up this evening, I want Merkita to share with us. This is resilience, Susanna, break every chain. Freedom to be all that you can be. Define for us, in your own words, what is freedom? What is freedom to you, Merkita Bernard-Reevas?
Freedom to me is a sense of breaking out of a prison. And that is a chapter in my book that talk about being free from the bondage, you know, and freedom to me is coming out of that prison, having a voice, being able to speak for the first time. That was one sense of freedom to me, that I had a voice and I could speak. No more I'm being called names like you are stupid, you are dotish, you cannot become nothing. Freedom for me was just having a voice.
Awesome, awesome. And freedom can mean different things to each and every one of us. I'm finding my freedom in being able to share with you my story and bring empowerment people to you to help you on your journey. So I thank you for sharing those few moments with us. And I encourage you, if this video has been a blessing to you in any way, do like, click that thumbs up, subscribe, and share with a friend. God bless you. Have an awesome, awesome time as we continue our journey to be strong, to be empowered, and most of all, to be a blessing to others.